Today, I'm giving you guys one word to describe every NFL team so far this season on this edition of Shumake Take Rants. Let's get it. All right, and welcome in, everybody. Hope you're having a fantastic, fantabulous, awesome freaking day. My name is Garrett Shumake, and you're listening to Shumake Take Rants. This is Shumake Take Rants number 10, and today we're really not doing much of a rant, but I wanted to take this time to give you guys one word describing every NFL team for the first 4 weeks of the NFL season, throughout the first quarter of the season, if you will. By this point, with 4 weeks in the books, we kind of have a decent idea of what each team is. Now, does that mean that what the teams are right now is what they're going to be at the end of the year? No, most certainly not. But right now, there is a common, at least for most of these teams, we have a pretty good idea of what they are, what they do well, what they do not do well at. And I wanted to give each one word to describe each team to this point. Now, if you don't know what Shumake Take Rants is all about, well, let me tell you real quick. Shumake Take Rants, we take any commonly debated topic, controversy, or any commonly debated topic, any of these topics about the NFL landscape. I kind of talk about them here, throw my hat into the ring, give my own 2 cents, give as much information about the topic as possible, and kind of meet in the middle. We'll see, where it's at, but this one, as I said, is not going to be very ranty. It's more of a relaxing one. And actually, for this one, I'm going to sit back a little bit. So, I wonder, can I do this? I have no idea how this is going to sound, honestly. But we're gonna roll with it. I'm going to try something a little bit different because if you don't know, well, if you already watched episode 17, you would already know. But I'm recording this one, and I recorded episode 17 already. I'm recording them back to back. So, my mouth is dry. My head is hurting with sitting up straight with having no support. So we're going to have some support right here. Going to have the mic just sitting right here. And let's do it. Let's go right into it. The starting with the AFC, we'll go with the AFC North, South, East, West, then we'll go with the NFC, vice versa. So I'm also going to go with the teams that are in first place to fourth place as they are at this point in time. So we're going to start with the first place team in the AFC North, and that is the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are 3-1, and my one word for them is inevitable. I talked about it in episode 17. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out real quick, because the video will be coming out on Saturday, so you'll get to see my predictions right before Sunday hits. But they're inevitable, because here's the thing. People wrote off the Steelers this year. They said the Steelers roster is not that good compared to previous years, and this might be the year that Mike Tomlin finally finishes a season without a winning record, which he has never done before. And I was one of those people, not saying that he was going to finish 8-9 or worse, but I was definitely there on the train that this roster was not that good. I thought that this offense was going to struggle a lot. I thought this defense was going to do its best but not be enough, and I had them finishing 9-8. And here we are, 3-1, and they're definitely going to, right now, 9-8 is the bare minimum. Right now it's the bare minimum. They're inevitable. As I said, they're always going to have a good defense. Their offense, whether it sputters or it's great, they're going to win football games. No matter what happens, the Steelers under Mike Tomlin are going to win football games. And now it's at least obvious to me, don't doubt Mike Tomlin again. Don't doubt Mike Tomlin again, because time and time again, he's proven you wrong. And until it happens, then I'm going to bet on the Steelers to keep on winning football games. And that's why the Steelers are inevitable. And the next one, the Baltimore Ravens in second place at a 2-2 record. This word is more reflective of me and how I thought the Ravens were going to be this year, and that's overhyped. The word for them is overhyped, because I had them going 13-4 and having the number 1 seed. While that's possible still mathematically, at this point being 2-2, that's probably not going to happen. It's most likely it's not going to happen. And so with the Baltimore Ravens, I kind of overhyped them a bit. Their offense has been, inconsistent. They finally found their identity with utilizing their running backs properly and thoroughly. And their defense is definitely missing Mike McDonald and Denard Wilson and a couple players that left. And the Ravens, they're not going to be as good as 13-4. They're not going to hit it. They're still going to be an 11-win, 10-win team. But for me, I overhyped them. So my one word for them is overhyped. The third place team, the Cleveland Browns at 1-3. My one word for them is garbage. Basura. That means garbage in Spanish. They're just garbage. The reason why the Browns are garbage, their offense is just not good, and the defense has been a massive letdown. When I talked about my AFC record predictions and I had the Browns going 10-7, I had them going 7-7 because I said the Browns defense is going to carry this team again, and then this offense, now that it's healthy with talent, should be better, and the offense is objectively worse. It's not better, it's objectively worse, and this defense is taking a step back. So I don't know what to make of this team right now, other than that they're bad. And until they show otherwise, they're bad. And right now, if Deshaun Watson, it's only 4 weeks, but if Deshaun Watson can't get this play back on track, then they're going to have to be looking for a new quarterback this offseason. You're going to have to, because at this point, no one's going to want for Deshaun Watson. You're just going to have to cut him and eat the dead cap like the Broncos are with Russell Wilson. But right now, the Browns are garbage. They're just not very good, and it is shown in a lot of ugly, ugly ways. Now, the team that is in fourth place for the AFC North is the Cincinnati Bengals at a 1-3 record. My one word for them is losses. And by losses, I don't mean them losing games. I'm going to sit back up for just a minute. Set that back up. Feeling a little bit more relaxed. The reason why my one word for them is loss is because the injuries are apparent. Offensively, Jamar Chase has been inconsistent, and T. Higgins hasn't been there until now. So it's been the loss. It's been the injuries, the loss of Brian Callahan. You could make the argument is affecting them because their offense has not performed as well as you'd hope. But he was the only offensive coordinator, so whatever. But it's been losses. The injuries have been there. The players they lost in free agency, it's unfortunate. But the Bengals, out of all these teams, out of all the 1-3 teams, the Bengals have the best chance to, bounce back in a good way. But when you're 1-3, you don't bounce back in a good way. That's saying it nicely. 9-8 is the best, outcome for them right now, as how they look, unless they have some drastic turnaround. But more than likely, they're going to end up finishing 9-8 or 8-9 at best. That's how teams usually finish when they go 1-3. Going into the AFC South, starting with the first place team, the 3-1 Houston Texans. It's expected. My one word for them is expected. People hyped them up, and they were going to be expecting them to be Super Bowl contenders. And I wasn't one of those teams or one of those people. I was like, you need to pump the brakes a little bit because this team has a lot of new players on defense, and this team was last year didn't have any expectations. They kind of came out of nowhere, won 10 games, and now they are the hunted. The hunters are now the hunted, and can they make that switch? Can they translate or transition into that type of philosophy where now you have to fend off teams coming at you compared to no one expects you to come in there and do anything and you come in there and smoke them, There's a different philosophy. There's a different mindset there. And so far the Texans have lived up to it. But here's the thing. The Texans have not been the best team in the world. They are 3-1 and they're a good football team. No doubt about that. But here's the thing. Penalties are killing this team, and this defense is not as good as people hyped them up to be. And I said this because the Texans defense is full of really, really good players, but there's not a ton of elite players on that defense. They got a lot of solid veterans. They have a lot of solid players overall, just nothing there that's truly top tier elite. And could that be different by the end of the year? Sure. Young guys like Derek Stingley and Derek Anderson. Will Anderson are there, obviously. So that's those are guys probably going to be elite by the end of the year, most likely, if I'm willing to bet on it. But right now, the Texans they're expected. They are where I expected them to be, and that's a good football team, not absolute juggernauts, but a really good football team that is better than how they were last year. Next up, the team that is 2-2, second place, the Indianapolis Colts. My one word for them is meh. There's just been a whole lot of meh. Offensively, Jonathan Taylor has been good as normal. The offensive line has been fine. There's been no issues there. Anthony Richardson has been the problem. He has 8 turnovers on the year. He's second in the league, and he got hurt last week against the Steelers. Can't take care of his body, and a lot of the issues that we had with Anthony Richardson last year and his brief time playing are still existing. And here's the thing: Anthony Richardson has only played like 20 games since he got started in college, and that's a lot of inexperience for a guy that's in the NFL level going into year 2. And he just needs time. He just needs time and needs some patience to develop, because you invested a lot in him. He's a top 5 pick. He's got a lot of talent. And the thing is, it's got to come together at some point. Whether that's this year, I don't know. That's why I had the Colts finishing 8-9, because Anthony Richardson was a big wild card for me. But defensively, I thought the Colts defense would be a lot better than I thought. Not a lot better than I thought, but I thought his defense would be better than how they are right now. This Colts defense isn't very good. The defensive line is okay, but you're missing Samson Ebukam in the middle. He's been a huge... his presence is missed, and this secondary has been bad. The secondary has been nothing but bad. And it goes to show, Kenny Moore's a good slot corner, but the outside guys, one's a rookie, another one like a fringe starter. I'm pretty sure, don't at me on that. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments down below. Please do. I love you guys if you comment. But it's just been a whole lot of meh. They're 2-2. They haven't been able to put anything consistently together. And it's just a lot of meh. I keep on saying it, but that's how it is to me right now. But moving on to the third place team, standing at 1-3, the Tennessee Titans, and my word for them is disappointing. And why is it disappointing? Because I was one of the few people that said this Titans team was going to be good, that they were going to go 9-8, and Will Levis was going to take a step up. And reality is, this offense is not good. This offense simply is not good. Will Levis is leading the NFL in turnovers with 9 turnovers. He got hurt against the Miami Dolphins. Think he's going to be okay, though. But it's just all bad right now. The running back situation has been okay. Tony Pollard has been fine. The offensive line has not been good. And the weapons, you paid Calvin Ridley $92 million a year. Or not $92 million a year. Oh my God, what am I talking about? But you're paying him $92 million. Hasn't done absolutely anything. DeAndre Hopkins has had one good game. You signed Tyler Boyd. He's done next to nothing. This offense got so much better on paper, and it's been a nothing burger for the most part. It's been an absolute nothing burger outside of a couple splash plays. And it's a shame because the Titans' defense is really good. I think it's going to be a really good unit this year, the way they've been playing. And I had them going 9-8. They started 0-3. They got an ugly win against Miami, whose roster is absolutely depleted. And right now, 9-8 is not going to happen. It's simply not going to happen. The best thing the Titans can hope for, kind of like with the Bengals, is 8-9. But even then, that happening is still kind of a stretch. But for the Titans, it's been nothing short of disappointing for me. Going into 4th place, our only 0-4 team in the NFL, is the Jacksonville Jaguars. And my one word for them is panic. If I'm a Jaguars fan, I'm absolutely panicking right now. Because people, Jaguars fans, NFL fans in general, pick the Jacksonville Jaguars to, win 9 games, win 10 games, and compete for the playoffs again. If you remember 2022, they started 3-7, finished 9-8, won the division, made the playoffs, and then last year they started off 8-3, and then they went 1 and they only won 1 game the rest of the year, finished 9-8, missed the playoffs. And starting off this year, they reloaded. They got Eric Armstead to bolster the defensive line. They got a couple starters, Mitchell Schwartz and Urza Cleveland, to kind of shore up the offensive line a little bit. Anton Harrison going into year 2. You got Brian Thomas Jr. in the draft. You drafted Gabe Davis. You wanted to go for an offense that can vertically stretch, kind of like how the Dolphins are with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I get the idea here, but it hasn't been there. It's been absolutely awful, and that starts with Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence has not been good. He's bad. He's missing open receivers. He's just not seeing the field well, and he's not getting much help either. Gabe Davis has been fine, but Evan Ingram, he's been hurt. The running backs aren't doing enough. Brian Thomas has been good. He's been fun to watch. But outside of that, there's really nothing there, and the offensive line isn't really performing all that well. And defensively, I thought that they would be a little bit better because the pass rush, But with Josh Hines Allen, Travon Walker, and Eric Armstead, those guys are insanely talented, and they're not getting a pass rush. They're not getting home, and the secondary that's already going to be expected to be bad this year is bad. And it's even worse because the defensive line isn't helping them any by not getting a good pass rush. And Shad Khan, the owner of the Jaguars, said this is the most talented team they ever had. And right now, if you're a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, you're in absolute panic mode. It's panic time because right now, nothing is going right in Jacksonville. You just paid Trevor, and he's not playing well. I don't know where you go from here. But I mean, you got to find a way to get something here soon. Maybe a win against Indy if Anthony Richardson plays. But you just have to see. You have to figure it out because right now, the Jaguars are in absolute free fall. And they need to find some ledge to catch on to very soon. Moving on to the AFC East. Number one in the division right now, the 3-1 Buffalo Bills. And my one word for them is revenge. People wrote off the Buffalo Bills this year, including myself. People said that they were going to take a step back. Now, I wasn't one that said they were going to take a huge step back. I still had them going 10-7 because Josh Allen will do Josh Allen things, and he's done that. But the Bills, how dominant they've been the first few weeks of the year, has been nothing short of really refreshing. Because, like I said, people thought that this team wasn't going to be good. This offense with Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, and Curtis Samuel was not a good receiver trio on paper. Dalton Kincaid going into year 2, sure, fine. The running back is good, but especially in the receivers, there's a lot of question marks. And defensively, you lost Matt Milano. You lost a lot of pieces. You lost Tre'Davious White. You lost Jordan Boyer. Excuse me. And, this team is a big question mark. And so far, they've proved that they're still here. They haven't left and haven't gone anywhere. I know they just lost 35-10 against the Baltimore Ravens on primetime, but as I said in my video recap for episode 17, don't panic. The Bills don't need to panic. They're good. They're here to stay, and they have been showing that they are giving people revenge and showing that they're here. They're still here, and they have not gone anywhere. Going to our number two spot in the AFC East, standing at a 2-2 record, the New York Jets, and my one word for them is mid. It's been a whole lot of mid in New York over there, and here's the thing. Week 1, did they win week 1? No, right? No. I can't. Oh my God. No, they beat Tennessee in week 2. Okay, no, they lost week 1. I can't remember who they faced week 1, but they lost week 1. They won an ugly game in week 2, blew out the Patriots in week 3, and then they lost an ugly game to the Broncos 10-9 in week 4. And right now, this team is not where I expected them to be. I had them going 10-7 and winning the division, and right now they are not winning the division. I can't say that definitively that they're not. It's only 4 games in, but right now they don't look like it. Right now they just look like a team that's still trying to find their ground, and it makes sense because you added new pieces on defense. Aaron Rodgers, it's his first time actually playing for the New York Jets for real this time, and it just hasn't been working. The offensive coordinator is Nathaniel Hackett. Obviously, the offense is not going to be that good with Nathaniel Hackett as the offensive coordinator. You could have told anybody that. Anyone could have told Robert Saleh that. And with that, Robert Saleh is not a very good coach. It's time to say it. Robert Saleh is not a good head coach. He was really good as a defensive coordinator in San Francisco, but this defense is inconsistent. They can't generate a pass rush consistently. And here's the thing. Robert Saleh has a losing record as head coach. And a few years in, I mean, if he can't turn it around this year with Aaron Rodgers and, with a good quarterback for the first time, if he can't do it this year, you might need to look into another direction. Because, the leash has been really long for Robert Saleh, but at this point, he's got all the pieces around him. He's got the team that he wants that looks really good on paper that can compete, and they're not competing. They are up and down, and it's a whole lot of mid. And if that doesn't correct itself, I think Robert Saleh is on a hot seat, at the very least. But that's a conversation for later on down the year. But right now, the Jets are just a whole lot of mid. I'm going to check my phone real quick, because after I got done recording, I'm still talking, but you can still hear me. My phone was getting hot. But we're still recording. We're still in. We're still doing it. We're almost halfway through, so that's okay. All right. So number 3 in the AFC East, standing at a 1-3 record, is the New England Patriots, and my one word for them is lackluster. Said it before the year started that this roster is not very good. It's not going to be this team is not going to be fun to watch. It's not going to be a fun year for the Patriots. I had them going 4-13 or 3-14 for a reason. Because this roster has almost no talent on it. And let alone proven commodities. And it's shown. They got a really good win against the Bengals in week 1. They went to overtime in Seattle in week 2. And I thought, okay, yeah, this team is going to be a little bit more competitive. And then the last 2 weeks have been an absolute nothing burger. Nothing there you can really feel proud of. And this passing game is terrible. The running game is inconsistent, despite Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson being good running backs. And this defense just hasn't been it. It simply has not been it. And it's been kind of what I expected. A lot of lackluster play on the field. And for last place, standing at a 1-3 record, the Miami Dolphins, my one word for them is Tua. Without Tua Tagovailoa, this Dolphins team is nothing. And why I say it's nothing and being so hot about it, or maybe controversial, or I don't know what the word is, hot take, I guess, hot take-ish in my tone, it's because they are. They are nothing. They're 0-3. They're 0-3 without Tua. What do you want me to say? This team looks terrible. And this offense is built around Tua and his skill set. Against Monday night, I talked about it recapping, Dolphins and Titans. Tyler Huntley, there was a lot of plays downfield that Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle got wide open for what could have been touchdowns, but Tyler Huntley missed them. Tua makes those throws. Tua simply makes those throws. And without a quarterback that can push the ball down the field, the Dolphins, the one good thing that the Dolphins build their offense around is completely redundant and doesn't work. And until Tua comes back, I don't know how much better this Dolphins team is going to get. There's injuries already around all across the board for the Dolphins, but the biggest one is Tua, and that's why that's my one word for Miami, because without them, they've been absolutely nothing. Moving to the AFC West, standing at a 4-0 record, the only undefeated team in the AFC, one of 2 undefeated teams in the NFL, it's the Kansas City Chiefs, and my one for them is, yeah. Just, yeah. If this makes sense, what do we expect? We expect this from the Chiefs at this point. No matter how much we question them, how we question, are the receivers any good, the defense any good, blah, 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 they're still going to win football games. And they're 4-0 right now, and that's all that matters. They're 4-0, and you got to pick them to win until they don't win. That's simply how it is right now with how much they've won. And, this is what the Chiefs are, and this is what most of us, I think, expected the Kansas City Chiefs to be. Although I am a little surprised because I had them starting slower. But then again, they are 4-0. Yeah, makes sense. Going into second place at a 2-2 record, the Chargers. My one word for them is coaching. And why do I say coaching? Because John Harbaugh, despite them being a 2-2 record, they are playing much better football compared to Brandon Staley. The defense is playing much better. The offense has been somewhat productive. J.K. Dobbins has been a bright spot so far for the Chargers this year. It's been nice to see him playing well for the most part. Although my overall offensively, my point still kind of stands that this offense isn't very good. I mean, Justin Herbert hasn't done a whole lot this year. And this receiving core is lackluster. Ladd McConkey is a rookie. Quentin Johnson in year 2. He's been impressive, but nothing absolutely incredible. Definitely not living up to a first-round pick pedigree right now. And Josh Palmer has been in kind of nowhere. And I said it before the year started, this offense is not going to be very good. And with an offensive line that's been kind of inconsistent, unfortunately, especially in the interior, it sucks. But you know what? They're playing much better than they would be otherwise with Brandon Staley. And that's why my one word for them is coaching. In third place, I have the Denver Broncos, also at a 2-2 record. And my one word for them is competitive. I thought the Broncos were going to finish 4-13 this year. I said it in episode 17. They're not going to finish 4-13. They're going to finish with a better record than that. What it's going to be, I have no idea at this point. but they have been competitive in every game they've played in. Week 1 was a one-score game. Week 2 was a one-score game. Week 3, they blew out the Bucks, who are a really good football team, and then they won 10-9 against a mid-Jets team that should be really good on paper. And they've been competitive in every game they've been in. Shout out to the Broncos defense, despite the lack of talent and notable players on the roster. They've been playing really well. Shout out to Sean Payton for getting this team together. Shout out to defensive coordinator Vance Joseph for getting the most out of his guys. And this Broncos team is a lot better than I think people thought. And as long as Bo Nix continues playing how he's playing, I mean, they're going to be in games for the foreseeable future. And then in last place, also at a 2-2 record, it's wide open for second place in the AFC West. It is a fact, the Las Vegas Raiders. And fourth place, in my one word for them, I'm going to use it again, like the Colts. Meh. Same thing here. They've had their good games. They have their bad games. It's been up and down, up and down, up and down. And until they kind of form some consistency, that's all they're going to be is meh. When they're playing their best, they look like a good football team. But when it's bad, it's bad. There's not much more I can say. I mean, when you're not consistent, it's hard to pinpoint what you are. Because at least with some of these teams, like the Dolphins, they're nothing without Tua. With the Chiefs, yeah, they're good, but with the Raiders, I don't know what they are. I really don't know what they are right now. Are they good or are they bad? They've made cases for both, and that's why they're in the middle. That's why they're meh, because they're just stuck in purgatory. Kind of like how I said they were when going into the season. I don't know. You tell me. But that concludes the AFC. Let's move on to the NFC, where I go to the NFC North. And the first place team in that division is the Minnesota Vikings at a 4-0 record. And my one word for them is surprising. And why is it surprising? Because I had this team going... Oh, man. My mouth is dry. I had them going 7-10 because I thought Sam Darnold was going to be the thing that was holding back this team. And he's been one of the things that has made this team excel. He's been the best quarterback in the NFL, arguably, these first 4 weeks. And he's been incredible. This offense has not lost a step. This defense is playing much, much, much better than I had anticipated. They're getting edge rusher help. Dallas Turner is playing fine. Jonathan Grenard has been everything that they gave him a contract for. And for the Vikings, like I said, it's been surprising. It's been fun. It's been exciting. But the Vikings are 4-0 right now, the only 4-0 team in the NFC. And for right now, they are hot. They are red hot. Absolutely fun to watch team. Vikings 4-0. But not far behind them in second place, the Lions at 3-1. My one word for them is exciting. I glazed them a lot in their win against Seattle in episode 17. But here's the thing. The Lions offense is incredible. It's fun. It's really freaking good. And as long as they keep putting up points and keep doing what they're doing, they're going to continue to win a lot of games. And every time the Lions are on TV, where I live, in Tampa, it's always a treat. It's always a treat getting to watch the Lions play. I've got to watch them twice now on prime time. And both games, it's been an absolute blast. It makes it fun to watch football, watching them play. And that's why I have them as exciting for the one word. Going into third place at 2-2, it's the Chicago Bears. And my one word for them is pinpoint. And what do I mean by pinpoint? I was pinpoint accurate on how the Chicago Bears were going to start and how their season's going to go. Well, maybe I shouldn't say I'm 100% on how this offense is going to go. But the Chicago Bears, I said this. This team is new. There's new faces. It's a rookie quarterback. They're not going to be world beaters week 1. This is not going to be a CJ Stroud type situation where a rookie comes in and he plays out of his mind. I said it's going to take time. Why? Because Caleb Williams thrives on buying time, running around in the pocket. In the NFL, teams aren't going to allow that to happen. Teams aren't going to believe it. They're going to stop it, and they're going to force him to be a pocket passer. And throughout college, if you force Caleb to be a pocket passer, he has struggled immensely, and he's struggling right now. Has it gotten better steadily? Yes, it has. I'm going to give him the credit where credit's due, but I said it. Caleb's a rookie. Pump your brakes. The Bears are not going to make the playoffs this year. I had them going 8-9 for a reason. And right now, they have looked like a team that's going to finish 8-9. But in last place, and also a 2-2 record, the Green Bay Packers, and my one word for them is improvement. Specifically with their defense. Their defense was really bad last year, and now it's one of the best in the NFL. They've made an overnight switch. It's been amazing. But outside of that, it's been Jordan Love. I talked about it last episode as well. I'm going to reference this video a lot. But Jordan Love, he's only played in 2 games. Week 5 will be his 3rd start of the year. And while the sample size is not huge, looking at how he's played and looking at the eye test, you can see that he's built off of what he did in the second half of last year. And if you're going to pay a quarterback as much money as they paid Jordan Love, you need to see that. You expect that out of him, and you can see the improvement. You can see the gain, and that's what you like to see as a Packers fan. I know the Packers are 4th in the division right now, but here's the thing. I don't think anyone expected the Lions to be as good as they are, and it creates a lot of pressure on the Packers. But, this team is still a good football team that's going to make the playoffs, I'm pretty sure. But for now, the Packers, they've improved, especially on defense, and I have no qualms or worries about the Packers as of this moment, despite their 2-2 record. But moving on to the NFC South, my one word for the 3-1 first place Tampa Bay Buccaneers is vengeance. People thought the Bucs overachieved last year and they were going to take a step back. Oh no, they look even better. Under Liam Cohen, the new offensive coordinator, this offense has been one of the best in football. The defense has made plays. They've been fun to watch. Have they been great? No, but they have been very, very solid. And here's the thing. The Bucs, with Baker Mayfield, this man's revived his career. He's the guy in Tampa for the foreseeable future. And for now, just enjoy the ride, Bucs fans. Enjoy it. Because now you got a good football team that's going to be good for years to come, I hope. And going off of the years with Tom Brady to go to this and keep on and have the continuity still be there and have the success still be there, that is very, very good. But the Bucs, they were written off by a ton of people, and I said, no, I don't think they overachieved. That's why I had them finishing 9-8. And guess what? They're better than 9-8. They're beating up teams and coming back with a vengeance. In second place at 2-2, I have the Atlanta Falcons, it is the Atlanta Falcons. And my one word for them is slow. I called it. Kirk Cousins coming off a torn Achilles. That was a recipe for this team and this offense to start off slow. This Falcons team has been inconsistent, especially on offense, because of this fact. And defensively, it's been all right for the most part. But here's the thing. The Falcons, it was their division to lose. And it's still their division to lose at the end of this, by this time right now. It's only week 4. But right now the Bucs have a leg up. And the Falcons got to get it together. They got to beat Tampa on Thursday. Well, I'm recording this on Thursday as they're playing. This will be out on Saturday. So by this point, we'll already know if they've won or lost. We'll have to see. But I called it. The Falcons are going to start off slow. And this offense has had a slow start. In third place at 2-2, the New Orleans Saints, my one word for them is interesting. They started off 2-0, dropping 40 points a game, and then the last 2 weeks, they have been very inconsistent. Derek Carr has not looked good, and this defense has looked susceptible. And right now, I don't know what to make of the Saints, because first 2 weeks were up here through the roof, and then week 2 has been down here. Like, the disparity is like, it makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense, the inconsistency of this football team. And I can't even say it's meh. I can't even say it's meh, because a meh football team is a whole lot of this. The Saints are like this. Like, it's a ridiculous amount of difference. And it's interesting because the Saints, the first 2 weeks, I thought, okay, this team isn't going to win only 6 games. The past 2 weeks, this team looked like they are going to win 6 games. So I have no idea what to make of them. They are interesting. They are very interesting in the sense that we've seen a tale of 2 extremes. And it'll be interesting to see how they play against Kansas City, because that's the true test. If the Saints can be competitive against the Kansas City Chiefs, I might be more inclined to believe in them and feel more comfortable about what they're going to be. But if they get blown out by the Chiefs, it wouldn't be as far-fetched to say that the first 2 weeks might have just been a fluke. But we'll have to see. But the Saints have been a very interesting team for this first quarter of the season. Then at 1-3 in fourth place, it's who else but the Carolina freaking Panthers. And my one word for them is sad. I'm going to check my phone again and make sure we're okay. I'm sorry I'm doing this. But I just got to make sure everything's operational because my phone got too warm. And I don't want it to get too warm to where it stops recording. So I got to make it, I should say quick. I don't want to rush it, but definitely we don't got time to dilly-dally. But the Panthers, my one word for them is sad. Because here's the thing, I had them going 7-10. I expected Bryce Young to not take a huge step up by any means, but given that they added Deontay Johnson, they drafted Xavier Legette in the first round, this defense was still projected to be really good. And I thought this team, wasn't going to make a big step up, but I thought there was going to be a couple games in there where Bryce Young showed promise, and there was going to be a couple statement games that kind of said, okay, yeah, Bryce Young's our guy. He's going to be good going forward, and he's benched. He's no longer starting. And it's just sad because now all the moves that they made to help get Bryce Young better have been for nothing. The players that they added haven't done much of anything. The defense is not good. They're missing Brian Burns big time. And man, it's just frustrating. It's just very frustrating. It's sad because I thought the Panthers would be better than this. And, well, right now, 7-10 might be the best case scenario, the absolute best case scenario for them at this point. But even then, you don't want that because you need a quarterback. So if you're at 7-10, you're not getting a top quarterback in the draft. I don't think any of these quarterbacks deserve to go top 10 right now as it's panning out, but it's going to be. It's how it's going to happen. But I don't know. At this point, it's just sad because all that work you did completely and all those stuff you traded away to get Bryce Young just went straight down the drain. Moving on a little bit more of a brighter note. First place in the NFC East is the Washington Commanders, and my one word for them is frisky. And why do I say frisky? Because Jaden freaking Daniels is the best rookie quarterback by far right now. He's the favorite to win Offensive Rookie of the Year at this point in time. And this offense has been great. It's been nothing but great. I thought this offense would be a little bit consistent or inconsistent because of the lack of talent. But here's the thing. Taylor McLaurin, he's been really freaking good. Luke McCaffrey has been very good. I should say very good, but he's been solid as a rookie out of the slot. And they traded away Jahan Dotson. I can't remember who their wide receiver that came in and beside him was, but Zach Ertz, he's made a couple nice plays. Austin Eckler has made a couple of nice plays. Brian Robinson has been good. And this offensive line is still not good. But you know what? Because of how good the weapons are with Jaden Daniels and the weapons around him, it's been good. It's been really good. The Commanders have a top 10 offense. The defense for the Commanders has not been very good. And I think that's what's going to limit this team's ceiling as of right now. But they're definitely going to go finish better than the 7-10 record I had going for them at the start. And I said it's because, okay, this team is going to be fine. I thought the offense was going to be fine, but there was going to be too many wins to go around from other better teams. But right now, they are one of the better teams that's taken those wins. So right now, they could probably finish 9-8 at worst, barring like something crazy happening. But right now, they're objectively the best team in the division. And it's been fun so far, and I'm excited to see how far this can go. Because the Commanders, as I said, they look very frisky. Standing at second place at 2-2, the Dallas Cowboys, my one word for them is expected. I expected this. I thought the Cowboys were going to take a step back. They did nothing in this offseason to get better whatsoever. They lost pieces. And, it's been very inconsistent. Dak, you paid Dak. He's been not good. He's been up and down. This defense, I don't know what the heck is happening with this defense, but none of the stars are playing well. And, oh my God, it's an absolute disaster if you're a Cowboys fan. But I think a lot of people expected this. I expected this because here's the thing. The NFL stands for not for long. And if you don't change, teams do get better. They will take advantage of you. And people have been taking advantage of the Dallas Cowboys for the most part, even in games that they've won. They've had instances where they've remained vulnerable, and they are still a very vulnerable football team. But honestly, it's not as bad as the next team in third place at 2-2 as well is the Philadelphia Eagles. My one word for them is worrisome. Because here's the thing. 2022, Jalen Hurts almost should have won MVP in my opinion, but you go to the Super Bowl, lose it. Your two coordinators, Shane Steichen and Rich Gannon, leave, or Jonathan Gannon, excuse me, leave. They go to be head coaches, and you bring in two new coordinators. Absolutely terrible. They start off really well, have an absolute terrible collapse to end the year, which resulted in a blowout in Tampa in the wild card round. And you got new coordinators because you thought, okay, that's the problem. You bring him in. Nick Sirianni's not the problem. Let's bring in these coordinators that are better. Let's bring in Kellen Moore. Let's bring in Vic Fangio from Miami. And the problems that were there last year still exist. They still do. The secondary is still an issue. The offense is still inconsistent. And the way they got blown out against Tampa last week, I'm worried. If you're an Eagles fan, you have to be really worried. Because, at least for me, I thought the Eagles were going to bounce back. Because I thought these coordinators were good hires. I thought that this is what they needed to get better and get back on track and had them going 12-5 and having the 2 seed in the NFC. And right now, it's just a lot of up and down. I don't even want to say meh, because this roster is still very, very talented. This roster is still very, very freaking good, but it hasn't done enough. They're kind of like the Jets of the NFC. A great roster, but hasn't done much to show for it except be inconsistent. And as an Eagles fan, you got to be worried, because people wanted Nick Sirianni fired after the loss in Tampa in the wild card last year in the playoffs. And right now, things don't seem like they're getting much better. And if it doesn't get much better, then we might have to start looking at Nick Sirianni and questioning why is this team not getting better despite the talent, and that's a coaching issue. So we'll have to see, but for the Eagles, it's very, very worrisome. In fourth place, who else but the New York Giants at 1-3? My one word for them is lacking. It's just lacking. They're lacking in talent. They're lacking in offensive execution, defensive execution. You know, the one way that this team was going to play and win, they beat the Browns. It's utilizing Malik Neighbors, getting him involved, and having this defensive line for the Giants playing well. And they've done it for one game, and the other games they haven't done enough to win. And it's lacking. And there's a reason why the Giants are a bad football team. It's because they can't put things together consistently. And that's enough. Really, they're 1-3. They're lacking. They're not a good football team at all by any stretch of the imagination. Excuse me. But we're going to close out with an NFC West. And at first place at 3-1, the Seattle Seahawks. My one word for them, kind of like with the Chargers, is coaching. Similar issue. Defense has not been good over the past couple years. You bring in a head coach that can actually coach defense, and the defense has improved a lot. The offense for Seattle has been better than it has been the past couple of years. Not that it's been bad, but it's improved even more. It's fun. It's explosive. And I had the Seattle Seahawks going 8-9, not because of their offense, but because of their defense. I thought that with a rookie head coach, this defense was going to take some time. And while they've had their bumps in the road, they just lost to Detroit pretty bad on Monday Night Football. They allowed 42 points as a unit. But for the first 3 weeks, they've been pretty darn good, if not great, I might add. And right now, they're the best team in the division objectively right now. And it's due to coaching. It's due to Mike McDonald and his brilliance. This Seahawks team is the best Seahawks team on performing-wise we've seen in a long time. And this team looks like a playoff contender right now. But at 2-2 in second place, it's the San Francisco 49ers, and my one word for them is injuries. Injuries have killed them right now. That's why they're 2-2. You can't be consistently winning football games when you catch an injury bug. It's not. It happened in 2020. The 49ers went to a Super Bowl, and the year after that, they missed the playoffs because of injuries, and it seems like history is repeating itself. Will it completely? We'll see. But right now, history seems eerily similar. But right now, the 49ers, their one word is injuries. Not much more to say there. For the third place team standing at 1-3, it's the Arizona Cardinals. My one word for them is fun. they've been a fun team to watch. Despite them being 1-3, this offense has been a lot more exciting than I thought they would be. James Conner is playing well. Marvin Harrison Jr. is putting up decent numbers. You can see why they drafted him 4th overall. Michael Wilson has been a surprise. He's been more consistent than I thought he would be. Trey McBride is okay. He's playing well. This defense has had their moments, but sometimes they've shown that they can be vulnerable. How they lost against Buffalo in week 1 and how they lost against the Commanders in week 4. And the Cardinals, they're still building. They're still building their roster. They're still trying to build things up and learn how to win as a football team. And I had them finishing 5-12 because, there's too many wins to go around. And this team kind of looks like a 6-win team right now. Maybe not 5, but they look like a 6-win team. They're going to be competitive. They're going to be in a lot of one-score games, but they're not going to pull away from very many of them. But right now, they've been fun to watch. This offense has been fun. It's been exciting. And despite the 1-3 record, Cardinals fans should be looking forward to watching their team every Sunday. And last but least right now, at 1-3, the Los Angeles Rams, and my one for them is surprised. I'm surprised that they're 1-3. I thought this Rams team would be better. But here's the thing. I could have used injuries here too, because Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua being hurt obviously hurts the passing attack for the Rams. But Kyron Williams hasn't done all that much. He hasn't been very impressive. This offensive line has not been very impressive. And defensively, you can see their youngness still. It's a lot of young players on that defense for the most part. And the Rams, I have them winning against the Packers, because the Rams, when their backs are against the wall, they've always churned out wins, and they've always, shown that they can bounce back and be resilient. And 1-3 is not the worst thing in the world. They could be 0-4, but 1-3 is always a tough record to come back from. So at this point, making the playoffs, they're probably the 1-3 team that's most likely to make the playoffs. But right now, their backs are against the wall. They got a good Packers team coming in, so we'll have to see. But if they fall to 1-4, yeah, the Rams' playoff hopes might be over. But for right now, their backs are against the wall. But I'm willing to bet, I'm not willing to bet against the Rams when their backs are against the wall. But that's going to do it for this rant today. Kind of different, as you know. We're not really talking about a rant, but we're just kind of being a little reflective today. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like, comment down below your thoughts. I want to hear them. And don't forget to do whatever YouTuber tells you to do. You already know the drill. I already said like and comment. But make sure you subscribe, share the video, tell your friends, tell your family, get everybody locked in and locked on to the Shumake Take podcast. Coming out with great content 3 days a week for you guys. And I will see you guys on Sunday recapping NFL Week 5. And I will see you in the next one.